Yo,
What is happening?
same old, same old. Welcome to Open Caller.
Man, I honestly
I
thought
am
that
Corey. He is Steve, and this is the show Open Caller, the only show where we dive into the
I
world
hear
of
you.
the film, TV, and comics so enthusiastically that even the Flash would struggle to keep up with our energy. Steve clearly having some audio issues.
There we. Can you hear me?
I always could hear
Yes.
you. The
Can you
question
hear
was, could
me?
you hear me? Yeah.
Yes. No. No.
No, of course not.
I, uh, I thought I had slayed that beast. Technology.
No, we wouldn't
But you
have a
know what?
show.
Hey, we were what 7? What was it? 10 minutes last week. Yeah, it was 10 minutes last week that my headphones started working, and here we are. What, like a minute in? So progress.
Hey,
Progress.
and new deck for our slides,
New deck. Look at this.
and new background too.
New camera. Yeah.
Well, I'm the
There
same.
we
You
go.
are
Look at
different.
that.
I can see your microphone this time.
I went on a mission today.
You're
I
also
to set myself up as well.
and you have don't have the over the head.
I
You have
lost
the
you.
in the ear. Got ahead of ourselves thinking things were going to work smoothly.
Yeah, something different. Something different. Anyway, another week, another episode. Am I lagged right now?
A little bit. But hey, like I
Oh
said,
goodness.
if we didn't have issues, we would have no issues at all. Wouldn't have a show if there wasn't some technical difficulties.
Oh. Was what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? How was the week?
The week was the week. You?
Did you watch any of the Blue Jays games
No.
earlier this
Both
week?
of them? No, I did not.
You mean the 2 games where they scored 1 run in 18 innings? Those games?
Right.
Yeah, it's a good thing you didn't. It's a good thing you didn't. They did not show up to the playoffs. Lots of thinking will need to be taking place top down this off season. Did you see
Probably
the
gonna
highlights? Do you
have
know what happened? Do you want me to go into my diatribe and how pissed off I am with that
Sure.
organization?
The
It's
lag floor is yours.
the thing is the one thing that was working well for them all along, which was the pitching, is the one thing that they screwed around with in the game, in the second game. The Jose Barrios was just into his 4th inning, throwing darts, 6 strikeouts, was on point. We're going to start playing the matchup game. And it didn't work out. Did not work out as planned. And sometimes you just have to, as much as analytics get thrown into your face, and as much as, the analytics say that this is the right move to make at this right time, you just got to go with your gut. Like, there is a reason why individuals made it to this level of baseball. It's because of their gut. It's not because they're trusting numbers and whatnot. So Blue Jays season, another one squandered, 2 years in a row, 2 losses in a row in the wild card series. So lots of changes I think are coming.
Has this been like the first or a rare instance where the all wild card round, or I should say rounds, matchups were sweeps?
Yep. Yeah. It's I don't think it's happened since it's been the third
Expanded?
wild card expanded. Because now we'll have 2 days of no baseball. Thursday, yesterday, and tonight, no baseball. Baseball starts back up tomorrow, which is great. This allowed me time to go through and compile a list that we'll be talking about later this evening. But yeah, it's the first time since that format's been introduced where all have been swept. And that's the thing too, right? Because Toronto's playing in Minnesota for those 2 games for sure, but potentially could have been 3. Does it even feel like a playoff atmosphere in Toronto? Like, if you're not getting any home games or anywhere else for that matter, like, does it feel like the Marlins made the playoffs if there's no games in Miami or, Arizona? Well, Arizona's won, but yeah.
Well, if you watched the news and saw the coverage, you would have seen people were taken to the streets when they made the playoffs. They didn't have any home games, but hey, we made the wild card round, so let's
Yeah.
go destroy
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So you had that.
Let's
at
celebrate like
least.
we've won the World Series, you hosers. No,
Well,
you gotta wait till you win a game.
it's Toronto. They have
Anyway,
very few things to
it
celebrate.
is Toronto. That's the thing too, right? Like it's there is now becoming a very common thread that ties all of the sports teams together, which is they can't produce shit in the playoffs.
Except
Sorry
the
to all the Maple Leafs fans out there, but not sorry. Except for the
Oh, you're
Raptors, maybe. Yeah.
yeah, come on, the Raptors.
But even still, like they had one good run, but there were other
Yep.
runs where they were choking, right? I think it
Right.
was the year after they won.
It was a running joke, right, where they couldn't get past the first round, which
Like,
is
my
now
goodness.
what they had attributed to the Leafs until this past season.
I don't follow basketball. I have no idea like if the Raptors are even supposed to be contending for a playoff spot this coming season. I have no idea.
Phew, yeah, it's hard to say. Like last year, they were because they had the play-in tournament, right? The first time the NBA introduced that.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So I
Okay.
think
Okay.
like 1-5, I think's a lock, and then no, yeah, 1-6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10 are the play-in tournament. So
There's 10 teams.
well, it's a one game. I think it's what
Okay.
7 and 10 and 8 and 9. The winner plays the winner, and the one makes it, and yada yada yada.
So it's almost like
Convoluted.
yeah,
So like even if
it's
you were
almost like
seventh, which normally you playoffs, you
the
don't.
March Madness.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's all about money.
Sports.
Sports ball.
It is. Yeah. So Astros play tomorrow. Just to tie a bow on baseball until we speak next week. Astros series starts tomorrow. They play again on Sunday. I'm very excited. Very excited.
How excited? Just very.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. No, I'm looking forward to it. 4:35, so it won't ruin the whole night. We'll be able to get some Vanderpump Rules in before bedtime tomorrow, even after the game. So everything's perfect. Everything's perfect. I mean, honestly, we are so close to being caught up that I can't wait to watch something else because this has been the only thing we've been watching for the last 2 months. Just powering through it.
Like, are you powering through because for enjoyment, or just to say that we've caught up, we've watched it all? Like you're pot
Cory,
committed
it's a I shouldn't say I'm pot committed because there'll be some things that you might learn later on tonight about shows that I've invested quite some time to, but otherwise have stopped. It's just it's a train wreck. It's just you're driving down the Queensway and you see a car accident, you can't help but look and see what's going on. This is exactly what it is every episode.
Can't help but not look away.
That's right.
But you have to.
Yeah. Like just what's going on? Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Every episode. Oh,
can't say that I do that because I have this thing against in quotes, reality, unscripted television.
Right.
Because let's not give these people their 15 minutes. Like, let's just go away. The dregs of society.
Yeah, there's Jade and I have been bitching about Survivor. Now we've watched Survivor since the second season.
But that's a game show, right?
Yeah, but so here's the thing though. The last couple seasons they've gone really heavy, in my opinion, on bringing on cast members that shouldn't be playing the game at all. And I feel like they're being brought onto the show just to showcase what it is that they're going through. And I'm not trying to downplay what it is that they're going through. Like these are real issues that people have. And so but you shouldn't be going on an island with no food and no shelter and in those, in that environment, if you're dealing with high levels of anxiety.
Right.
And this season starts off where one of the individuals, she's 3 days in, like before the first tribal council, and she's going on about high anxiety, and like she knew that she couldn't do this, and and she quits. She quits like first episode. And I think to myself, like, why? Like, why would you? Now, it's one thing to say, you want to overcome your fears, but I would say to that, you need to crawl before you walk, and maybe don't jump off the deep end and go straight to Survivor. Maybe you do, like, I don't know, like a camping trip an hour outside of where you live and start there. Take a week off, go camping, and see if you can get over it. Because you think that there are so many people, like there are probably hundreds of thousands of people that are, doing everything that they can to put themselves in a position to make the show, to lose out to someone that gives up 3 days in, I think is unfair. And I don't know if it's just casting's fault. Like, they need to take the whole intention of the game is survival of the fittest for all intents and purposes.
That includes mental.
That includes everything.
Right.
I couldn't do it. I would murder someone 3 days in because I haven't eaten. I know that, and I know that I can't go on Survivor because of that. $1 million would be great, sure, but the reality of it is I would not be able to do it. So I just find that there's a bit of, like, you're starting to see a bit more of that happening with Survivor anyway. I'm sure that it's happening with other reality shows where it's not so much reality, I guess, is what my whole point was trying to be, is that they're taking a bit of liberties in how they're casting some of the people that are on these shows, which ties into, is it unscripted reality? Anyway, I think this is the most I've ever. Yeah, I think this is the most I've ever spoken about reality television with you. This is we're making progress.
Yeah, we're branching out. We popped collar before you know it.
That's it. Yeah.
So there it is. Went to the movies at home. And this time, have you heard with this one? No One Will Save You?
I saw a trailer for it on Facebook or something like that, and I didn't hear the volume, but it's a movie, right? Like, it's a
let's
it's not
No
a
One
TV
Saves on
series.
Hulu. Here's your look at it with sound.
All right, scare level going up.
5 million home invasions per year.
Is that in just America, or is that?
I'm gonna say, yeah.
That freaked the shit out of me.
Maybe lock your doors.
Jesus Christ.
Those damn doors, I'll tell you. Fuck, they came out of nowhere.
Then exactly.
That's what everybody needs. As you can guess, this is
holy shit.
So it's a sci-fi flick, if you didn't get it. I will say this, though. I've used a lot of finishing nails in my day, and they do not stay. So That makes sense. That's the most believable part of this movie. So it's
Okay.
aliens.
So does she? Yeah, it's like Quiet Place. It looks like the ones from Quiet Place, maybe. I don't know.
I don't
Is
know if you noticed
she?
from that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Did you hear any talking?
No.
So this is like an hour and a half, an hour 40. Yeah, there's no talking in this movie. There's maybe 10 words said from start to finish. It was something
So
different.
is it like in the same? Is it in the same universe as A Quiet Place then?
No, like there's reason to talk. There just isn't talking. It's like
Because
almost like a
she's by
silent movie,
herself.
but with so the story basically is the main character. Throughout the story, you find out that she's responsible, well, accidentally, um, for the death of her friend when she was a kid, and basically the town has shunned her. Ergo, no talking because no one's talking to her. So she lives her life basically just not talking because no one wants to interact with her, and alien invasion, yada yada yada. It's different because
Okay.
again, it's hard. It's in this day and age, it's weird to watch a movie. A Quiet Place is there is talking. There's dialogue through sign language. There's scenes where it's background noise is loud, so they are able to talk or whisper and stuff. But this is weird to watch a movie from start to finish with no dialogue, whether it's spoken or written. So it's a lot of with the jump scares and stuff of just breathing and grunts and um I enjoyed it up until the third act. I thought the third act really things fell apart. The ending is kind of
Like wrap it up
vague.
kind of quick.
Not even
Okay.
wrap it up. It's just like the way it's going. You don't expect because again, with no dialogue and not necessarily grasping what's going on, it seems to be like the choice that is made by the aliens is odd considering what they're doing. It's kind of. I'm assuming you're never going to watch this, or would you? Because then I will
No.
spoil the fuck out of it.
Absolutely not.
So they abduct her in
Spoilers.
the end. Spoilers for anyone listening. They abduct her in the end. Skip ahead if you don't want to find out the rest. They abduct her at the end, and then they kind of like in Captain and Marvel, they go through her memories and they see what happens. So while they've been abducting people in town and basically taking them over, they decide we're not going to take her over. We're going to put her back as is and kind of like mind meld the town into like forgiving her so she can have essentially a normal life with everybody who's now under the control of the aliens. And that's basically how it ends. So the
So it's
planet's
like,
taken over. She's not taken over. It's kind of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but they're cool with you not being one of them. To let her live
why
a normal life while not being normal.
is it so like because
She's no
they
longer
had
shunned.
did they have sympathy for her like that
Yeah,
she
basically
was
is
shunned?
yeah, yeah,
That's
basically.
a really strange twist.
Yeah, considering what you just saw with in terms of all the
That's
horrorness.
that is quite honestly the absolute last thing I would have thought
Right?
happened.
It just takes a left turn.
Yeah, like they just come screaming into the house, like basically wanting to invite her to a book club.
Yeah.
You know, take no for an answer and won't take no for an answer. And yeah, they just that's weird. That's weird.
Hmm. Yeah. So
So
like
do they open it up for like a sequel or anything like that?
I don't know how you do sequelists. It's just now we're gonna do the chapter 2. It's just all dialogue. her life now with these controlled
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
It's almost like a Stepford wife type movie
Or she's
where she's the
frolicking
normie
along
and
and
yeah, just la la la. But yeah, no, like the
how
thing
did
I
the
read
aliens
on
look? Were they
they look very classic, the gray,
okay?
big eyes, not
Yeah.
like we've been getting as of late, more OG, like the sketches you'd see people who said that they were abducted by these little, gray men with black eyes, and
And
but
do you get a good
they're able
look
to
at
like
them?
grow and yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's a full on
Interesting.
fight scene that she's got with one of them.
Wow. What does she
Oh
use?
yeah.
Nails or nail gun?
She uses but a lot of boiling water pots. and burns
because
them,
those
and she
are,
bites them,
yeah,
and yeah,
bites them. Oh, what
uh,
kind of movie is
broom
this?
poles and
No
stuff.
one
Oh,
was.
no one will save you
Where does it take place?
in America. I don't think. Not that I remember that it actually says it. Again, there's no written dialogue, so there's no like doesn't say like Arkansas or whatever. But it's there. While the few spoken words are in English, so I'm going to say it's American.
Mm,
So
okay.
isn't that like the UFO abduction capital of the world?
Mm,
Clearly, you're sold.
probably. Yep.
Yeah.
No.
Enjoy.
Thumbs down. Thumbs down.
Okay, so I don't
Bad.
have three like we had like our open three, which I like to call like three topics that are not usually in our wheelhouse of conversation, but I only have one. Um, but this shit's been driving me nuts the last
Oh
couple weeks.
god. Okay.
Uh, it's been growing
Yeah.
more now because I've been hearing it from other people too. But the NFL and their coverage of Taylor Swift. Now, I don't know about you. I don't care for Taylor Swift. Um, she is like the most successful singer that is basically just rewriting the same song over and over and over. Like how everyone used to say Nickelback is formulaic. Like everything they do sounds the same. It's structured the same. I find that's her, like to a T.
Yep.
And I don't understand why everything she does, everybody loves. Never says a bad thing. But you can have a song by an artist that's great, and they have a great album, and then they do another album, and it's not as good, but there's a good couple tracks. Hers is this is the best thing ever written until the next one comes out, and then that one's better, or the best, or just as good, or then the next one comes
Right.
out, and these are all amazing. Nothing bad is ever said, and I think I'm tired of it. No, I know I'm tired of it. So when this started with her in the NFL dating a player, whatever, I don't care. Date whoever you want to date. You're gonna because she seems to date everybody every couple months. The
Yep.
coverage was insane that first week, and then I think
Just gets
almost every
worse.
day it's gotten worse, and it got to the point. I think this past week. No, the NFL changed. I think their social banner. I don't know if it was on what platform it was, but that's when the fans finally turned and were the most vocal I've seen thus far with the coverage. Is when it got to the point where now our platforms are highlighting her, not the teams, not the sport, not the league. It's just NFL logo and pictures of her all in the background. We had her showing up to one game with other celebrities, and that was on there. They play. I think someone said they cut to her 17 times in one game. I know they're
Yeah,
making
that's what I heard too.
lot more money, a lot more, I guess, new fans are watching things and pretending that they know what the hell's going on with football, because I know a lot of people don't necessarily understand the game of football as much as you would think they did. But it's like, fuck, she's not
Okay,
like
so
the second coming of Jesus, guys. Like, come on,
yeah, honestly, and
let's move
I'll give
on.
credit. Yeah, I'll give credit where credit is due, in that she's talented in what she does. She writes all of her own songs, and so she plays a bunch of different
I
instruments.
think
She
it's
has
pretty obvious
a
she writes her
good
own
voice.
songs
Yeah,
because
but
they're the same.
I think about this, and then I think to myself, okay, this is what I got likely spam calling. Don't know. I've never met a likely spam before. So I think of like Super Bowl, where you've got half an hour halftime show where it brings in the non-fans and predominantly women that are watching it for that element of the game. This is what we're going through, is like a halftime show week in and week out for a whole game.
Yeah.
So it's on steroids, and it is a bit too much. Like, who cares? There are so many different um there are so many other examples, I should say, of athletes that are dating other celebrities, be it athletes, singers, actresses, what have you. Like, this
The
is not.
aforementioned bio change. Like that's the official NFL channel. I think this
Oh
is on Twitter.
God, I didn't see that. That's just like, come on, man. I wonder though, is she doing this just to, not that she needs help with her any publicity for her Eras tour, but the fact that I know the name of the tour is almost equally as bad. But um, I wonder if there's like some methodical plan in place
I
that she's
don't.
staying
Truth.
top of mind, right?
Yeah, like I agree. I personally like from what I've heard, secondhand through various things.
From your
Um,
buddy Patrick Mahomes. Let's just
that's right.
be honest with everyone, okay?
She does come across as somebody who is just about the money and the fame and the notoriety that, yeah, I could see this is by design.
For sure.
That she easily could have either like, and you don't want to. Well, I'm gonna, so I'm not going to even say you don't want to speculate, but I could see somebody thinking, "What's a market I haven't tapped into?" and seizing the opportunity, maybe happenstance to run into whatever the football players, Kelsey or
Kelsey, Travis Kelsey.
Travis Kelsey, um, and then just seeing an opening and running with it because like if there was like footage of them, like I think walking in the back. And like they lock eyes with the camera and play to the camera. Like you don't do that if this is like, oh, privacy. Like we're just let us be. Like she knows she's gonna be on camera and she overreacts like these. Like someone said, you're up by 3 points. Nobody acts like that at a game.
Right? Unless it's the Super Bowl, unless it's like a do
Yeah,
or die
it's
situation.
fucking
Like
the what week
you're literally
6,
like week 3.
week 3.
Like you're in week 3, you know. The the paint on the grass for the stadium hasn't even dried yet. The season's that new, you know. Like let's take it down a notch. It is sick, but you know what? I feel like I just feel as fast as it comes in is as fast as it's going to go out, and we're just kind of caught in that eye of the storm right now, where we're just like everything is Taylor and Travis and the NFL
Yeah,
banner though. Like that's just inexcusable. Like that's whoever is the social media content producer should be fired, in my opinion.
yeah.
Like,
But
what are you doing?
doing
You
what
know?
the boss tells them to do. Like, and again, the NFL's not
Yeah.
stupid. Like, they had to know. Like, we are. I've said this to a few people now, but I think we've moved past fandom, and now it's all
Mm-hmm.
standom, right? There's no, and we know we talk about with DC fans, Marvel fans, there's no more like you're a casual fan. You are a diehard. You bleed the blood of Taylor, you bleed
Yeah.
Beyonce, like
Yeah.
everybody is you're
You're
with
in it.
them. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
you're seeing this with what's going on with Twitter, right? Elon buys it for 44 billion, it's
You're in
down to
it.
8 billion. It's lost like 90% of its valuation. And if you're on that platform and you use it regularly, he's still a god. And this is all bullshit. This is people making this stuff up just to try to tear him down. No, it's called it's money. Like it's IP. Like it's all this shit. You can find just look at the market and you can see what's happened. It's you got your fucking flow chart, the bar graph, all this stuff. You can see it's not they're just making it up. It's
Yeah.
real
Yeah.
dollars and cents. He
It's
decides to do
calculated.
something. Yeah, he decides to make a change that people are going to be against and the stock goes down. That's what happens when you're a
Mm-hmm.
public figure like that and you're going to say this thing publicly and there's live engagement and reaction. So that's what's going to happen. Like a movie opens for Disney, it doesn't make much money at the box office. You're losing money. And what happens? Their stock goes down because it's all public. This is what happens. So, but people are going to defend regardless. Like it's Zack
I
Snyder.
yeah. So I have like I have a somewhat related Taylor Swift story in that one of Jade's friends bought 4 tickets for Taylor Swift,
Yep.
And it just kind of goes into like the whole point of the story is, you know, how much she's revered and adored by fans, and like the lengths that they'll go to see her and whatnot. Where she had managed to get her hands on 4 tickets
Hmm.
at in Toronto next year when Taylor's here, and I think she spent somewhere around like $700 or $800 for those 4 tickets. Well, she sold all 4 on StubHub for, I want to say, like $4,000, which is insane. It's insane. And I guess I think to myself, if Taylor is that person where she's just money driven and money hungry, like um she's doing it right. Like she's, you know,
Hmm.
she's pretty smart at what she does to make that money. Although, like, you know, the secondary market, I would imagine she's not making any money off of that secondary market, but she can probably hold the promoters ransom, knowing that they would sell, and what their payout to her or however it works would be structured. So yeah,
Have you
Taylor
you don't watch
Swift.
the John Oliver show, eh? Last week tonight. Because
I watch the clips through Instagram. Like I don't watch the
okay.
show. I watch like
So
the
it was like a
whatever's, you
couple of
know,
years. I
put
think it was
out
a
through
year or
there.
two ago, or maybe even last year. He did a piece on Ticketmaster. It just won't go into grave detail, but it was said on there and shown on there that the biggest profiteers of the secondary market are the artists themselves.
Really?
Yeah, they drive up the prices by like putting their hold, like they artist tickets, obviously. And
Yeah, yeah.
one specifically they talked about was Justin Bieber. Um, and so they take their tickets for their artists and they were posting them on resale at exponentially higher amounts. And then when someone looked up the sea location, they determined, because I don't know, I'm assuming they worked there, because who else would you know what artists holds are unless you work for the venue that's putting the show on, that those were the tickets being
Mm-mm.
resold at a higher value, or the ones that they were
No.
holding for them. Oh yeah. So, and then like for
Huh.
Taylor's, not again, not I know we'll just stick with Taylor because this is what we're talking about. But if you are going to limit where your shows are going to go, like she's only doing stadiums, right? So if you're
Mm-hmm.
in Canada, there's really only a handful of stadiums that are going to be big enough to warrant, sorry, to hold the crowds that she's looking for. Because I think she only did football stadiums in the States. So, like we're talking 60, 70, 80,000 people. We don't have that big ones here in Canada,
Yeah.
even the CFL ones,
No.
right? So you handcuff the country that you're going to play in based on the number of venues. So if it's a smaller venue, I will do more shows, but the ticket prices are going to go up
Yeah. And it makes you
because you
curious.
want
It
you got
makes
to
you
hit
wonder,
that
like how.
nugget, right?
Yeah, and how many. I'd be really curious to know how many tickets an artist would get as their own, right? Like in an example, like the Rogers Center, where it seats however many it seats, like what 45, 60,000. Does she get 1,000 tickets? Does she get? I'd be interested
Yeah.
to know that. But that's a really interesting take on by John Stewart. Jonathan Stewart. Or John Stewart, you
Jonathan
said?
Oliver.
Or John Oliver.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, Taylor Swift.
Yeah. The only other
She's
thing I
like
had was
shisty, but she's like,
yeah.
she's skirting underneath. So
Yeah, and like the amount of older people that like her is kind of like, it's like, come on, like what she sings about, you were like already over when she came out. Like you're in your 50s, 60s. Like, come on.
brings me
I
back to
think
the
that
70s, baby. Hey, brings me back to
yeah.
like instead of Love Hurts, they got Taylor Swift that they can now listen to. You know,
Yep.
instead
Plus,
of a little
she switched genres of music.
Aerosmith, they can now listen to Taylor Swift.
She switched genres. It was country, now she's pop. I wonder
Yeah,
why.
yeah.
It's easier to make your money in
I
pop
will
because
s-
there's
I will
more.
s- I will say though, the the new Rolling Stones song that came out, I can't remember what it's called. I can't remember. But anyway, it just, considering that Mick Jagger is 83 years old, like fuck, he sounded like quite good on what is the name of the song? it was quite impressive for someone that's 83 that is able to still belt out a tune. Like, and that's why I have a lot of appreciation for Tony Bennett and those artists that can get up to an age and still carry a tune.
Well, you know what it is, right?
What
It's
is the name of the auto tune?
is it Angry? Their new single?
It, uh, it might be. It might. Yes, it is. Yeah. It is. Or no,
no, it's
it's
like
no. Sorry. It's sweet sounds of heaven. That's what
Sweet Sounds of
it's the songs. It's really good.
Oh yeah,
It's
with
like
Lady
I
Gaga
think
and Stevie Wonder on it.
yeah, and I think I just like it because of how well he sings, and anyway, I don't know how I
No,
spun
like
off
but when you
on a
get when it
tangent
comes
on
to like
Mick
the
Jagger, but
Stones, Aerosmith, all of them, they got big before autotune. Like you had to be able to perform live in order to get your album, right? That's how you get discovered. Now
yeah,
anybody off the street
yeah,
can fucking hook a microphone up to the computer and there you go. There's your number one hit.
that's right.
All right,
It's kind
let's
of it's frustrating.
It's good, eh? Yeah, I figured you like that. So open caller Shocktober.
I
This is
love
week
it.
number 2. Last week we discussed, if you listened to last week or watched last week, remember youtube.com at open caller pod to watch us on the live streams. We discussed movies people would be shocked to know that we liked or shocked that you would believe we never saw it. This week you are going to go through your massive list of shows that you started, and then I
Yeah,
don't know how long
yeah.
am I keeping this up or am I putting it off to the side?
No, you can keep it up for now until I kind of go through all of the,
Because it's so shocking.
just it is. It's shocking to me. So for a few of our friends, those of which know about the podcast, I'm sure listen, for years have called Jade and I out on numerous occasions every time we brought up a show, and it would be in a conversation where we would say, oh yeah, we really like that show, but we stopped watching it and didn't really have a good reason for it. They'd call us out on it. So over the years, we kind of just figured, oh yeah, it's a dozen here, it's a dozen there, what have you. This is the first time that I've actually spent the whole week going through like my mental Rolodex, and also with the help of IMDb and other websites to figure out how many shows were out there. So the following list I'm about to share has a criteria that it must meet in order to make this list. And the criteria is that we needed to have watched at a minimum 5 episodes.
5 episodes.
We could have watched 4 seasons, 3 seasons, but at a minimum it had to be 5 episodes. And the reason why I put that in there is, generally speaking, when you're talking about TV shows, it is that 4 or 5 episode mark where you get a sense of what the story is for at least the first season. You get a sense of the character introductions and who they are.
Yep.
You generally, tie yourself to a character that you enjoy, and you kind of, go down that road, or you like them all or whatever. But point being, by episode number 6, you should have a pretty good clue on what's going on, and you should know if you're going to continue or not.
That's correct.
This list is not in any order, chronologically or anything like that. It's just literally as I thought about them, I was writing them down. So the way that this will work is I will have. Did you determine a time? Did you figure out what time you're going to give me? How much time per episode? 10 or 15 seconds, or
we'll go 10 unless we're running long and then shorten you. So when do you hear this? It's not going to play now.
So I will. Yeah.
There it is. That's your time's up.
So I will speak about a show until I hear that. That indicates that I move on to the next show.
And if I really want to dive deeper into why the hell you dropped it, I will just tell you.
Okay.
I will interject.
And then there are a few at the end that I will give as honorable mentions, and
Good old honorable mentions.
those are ones that we've watched 5 or less episodes, or 4 or less episodes, pardon me. Okay, so without further ado,
I'll
let
take
me
this
go through this
timer.
list
10-second timer. Go.
and go. So the first one is The Wire. Started loving it, couldn't hear a damn thing. Dominic Moore was a great actor, and then the other one who just passed. But at the end of the day, just couldn't really hear it. How I Met Your Mother, 9 seasons, 208 episodes. We got to maybe like season 6, 5 or 6, and it's like, at what point are we gonna meet the fucking mother? It was just frustrating. It just got to be repetitive. Big Bang Theory, also very, very repetitive.
Oh yeah.
A good angle with comic books, so something that I would draw myself to, but it was just like the same jokes after, and after a while, it just got to be. Mad Men, there was, I think, 4 seasons. I want to say 4 or 5 seasons. We made it all the way up until about 3 or 4 seasons of that last 3 or 4 episodes of that last season. But it was just very hard to finish. Game of Thrones, too long.
Oh.
Too
That was a joke. That was a joke.
Game of Thrones.
Move
Game of
on.
Thrones is another one. Too long of a waiting time between the seasons we found. 6 Feet Under was one that we watched.
Sorry, I scrolled. Technical difficulties. Next one.
6 Feet Under was one that we watched when it came out in the early aughts, and it was don't remember why, we just stopped watching it. I can still talk and no buzz? No? Do you want to talk
Seemed
about
like
this
you were
one?
done with that one.
Okay,
I'm gonna give you 15 seconds. Because the lag is I'm hitting it too soon. 15 seconds. Go.
Oh, okay. So Succession was good, but it was slow, and it was just like I hear these great things about it being this, family that runs shit, but 7, 8 episodes in, and it was like, what is actually happening?
There's
Um
succeeding.
Friends, just what, the jokes ran dry. What's that? What'd you say?
Nothing.
They were succeeding. Sorry,
Yeah.
the leg. I don't know what's going on. My internet
Okay.
might be bad tonight. So Friends, yeah, just it got, once Chandler hit the bottle and the pills, it just kind of fell down for me.
You know what? You should. We'll go back and rewatch Friends strictly to watch when he's skinny, it's the pills. When he's fat, it's the alcohol. And like you'll have fun with that.
Yep, 100%. Better Call Saul. It just tried too hard. I think it maybe came out too soon after the success of Breaking Bad. I watched Breaking Bad all the way through. It was one of my favorite shows of all time. But Better Call Saul, I felt I just wasn't ready. Like, I had
stupid thing. It's jumping on me now. Sorry.
Dead Like Me. Don't really remember why we stopped watching it. I don't think it lasted all that long anyway. It was about this girl that died. She became a reaper, and then she'd have breakfast at this cafeteria, eating pancakes with these other ghosts, and maybe that's the reason why it's just a shitty premise. Next one, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I loved this show, and I think this was just a victim of, I bought like the first 4 or 5 seasons on DVD when it first came out. Like,
Yep.
started watching the show when it first came out, and then I caught up, and then I couldn't find the DVDs, and I didn't spend money on the DVDs, and then I just kind of waited, and now it's back streaming again, and it's still obviously going on. Love the show. It was a matter of
is this
content.
unlike the ones like you've got out of, but would this be one that you could see yourself getting back into?
Oh, 100%.
Or is it just 100%. Now that it's like what, 16, 17 seasons now, or it's just you're too far gone from it now?
No. I want to say I'm about, maybe we watched 6 or 7 seasons of it, so like we watched quite a bit. This is one that I would totally go back to. Schitt's Creek just wasn't funny, in my opinion. I just didn't enjoy it. Yeah, I didn't enjoy it. The Americans, I think we stopped watching it. I probably would have continued watching it, but because I watched a lot of the shows with Jade, she wasn't as interested, so we dropped it. But it had a really good premise, and I would like to eventually get back to it. This one upsets me,
Okay.
that I never saw this through. It was only on for one season, so there's really no excuse for me not to go back and watch it. But Freaks and Geeks, um,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
watched the first half of the season, I want to say, and we just never finished it. Um, I feel though, now that I'm talking about it, that it might be because I knew it got canceled, that it was like, well, why even bother go back and watch it kind of thing. But I do know that I enjoyed it. Walking Dead, I read the books. I just the timing, it was always on Sundays late at night, and it just didn't work out. And I was like, well, I'm not really big into horror. I read the comics, so that's good enough for me. Um,
I will say this though about The Walking Dead is when it
yeah,
steered so far from the books and dragged in parts where it shouldn't have and sped through parts where it shouldn't have. Um, it was hard. It was a hard sell, especially when um, like actors are leaving and these characters still
yeah,
continue in the books. So it's like when Rick was gone, it was like, why are we even bothering? And then it's a
yeah.
whole completely different show. Like, did not have Rick there when they go into the Commonwealth just didn't make sense.
It
Like
may,
how they come
it
across the
doesn't.
Commonwealth doesn't make sense.
And
And
it's
then
yeah,
yeah,
like at that point, just stop with the show. Stop with the show.
yeah, and it's
Um,
I know like having Shane stay longer than he is in the books, like that worked because of the helped you build the dynamic between those two. And then
yeah,
like the affair he had with Lori and yada yada his wife, and but then yeah, like we you kept Judith alive, so that's another thing you got going now. You take this character and replace him with that character, and then that gets changed,
yeah.
and then 11 years, right? So
That's a long time. I think
yeah,
that's a long time.
especially considering what happens in the books.
So
Next,
so the next one, yeah, the next one, I was a bit hesitant to put it on the list, because we did watch it in its entirety, but then it came out with the fourth season years later, and we never got around to watching it. So by virtue of the point of this list, I have to include it because we
mm-hmm.
didn't see it through, and that's Arrested Development. Um,
There's
Absolutely
5
love it.
seasons.
If the fourth season is anything like, there's five. Okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
if the fourth and fifth are anything like the first three, then I will go back and watch it. Does Ryan? Damn it.
You can still go on.
Um,
I'm just saying we won't discuss it, but now I'm going to interject to give you more time. Yeah, 5 seasons. Um, Netflix took over. I think four, but we also are just watching. We haven't seen it before. We are watching it now. I think we're finishing the second season, so I'm right there with you,
Straight from the beginning.
straight from the beginning.
Oh, dude, how
I've
good is it
never
though?
had never
It's
seen it
good, isn't it?
until this past summer. Yeah, we're enjoying it.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good. I should
And
go
yeah, I
back and
think
watch it. Really,
Ron Howard still is the narrator.
yeah. Okay, good. Well, that again, that'll fall into the category of something I'll definitely pick up.
Yep.
So the next one, sorry, jumping ahead. Dexter is another one. It just got to be a bit too gory and sadistic for me, and I was just like, I can't watch this. I just can't. And I kind of got caught up in the, everybody's watching it, and this is a great show. Everybody should be viewing it. And I tried it, and I was just like, it's not for me. The League was one that we really, really enjoyed, about fantasy sports. It was funny. Like even Jade enjoyed it, and she doesn't play fantasy sports. And I think this was a victim of the time in between. We caught ourselves up through binging, waited for the next season, but by the next season, by the time it came out, there was something else. So there are a few on this list that are specific just to me, and one of them
Okay,
is Daredevil. I haven't seen season 4, so I have to put it on the list
3.
here. Sorry, season 3. Yeah, so if I get around to watching it, probably not. I'm just gonna wait for
No, you gotta
Reborn to
watch season
happen.
3. No, you gotta watch season 3.
No, you've said this. You've talked about this
You do.
before.
I'm telling you,
So
man.
okay,
You will not be disappointed with 3 because you're not gonna get this new one's not gonna be like that show. It's not. I know it's not. It's Disney. It's Disney Plus. It's not gonna be like how that show was. So watch the good
okay,
one before we get the watered down version.
okay. I might do that then. Um, okay, so the next one just started off on the wrong foot for us. We started watching the first episode, and it was someone that got shot. Spoilers, got someone that got shot, and we're like, wow, this is a very aggressive way for a show to start. And we're
Yeah,
kind of trying to follow along, and we get about 10 or 15 minutes into the first episode, only to find out that we started on season 4 and not
love
season
it.
1. And so we're like, oh well, we kind of know what happens. So we went back to season 1, and that's Yellowstone. So we just couldn't like get into it. Yeah. Moving on. Trying to get through these.
Oh, I love that's
There's
like
so many
the
more.
Yellowstone review.
Jesus
Somebody got
Christ.
shot in season 4 and we couldn't get into it. That's how you sell a show.
Yeah, well, it just kind of just threw us off kilter. The next one was Shameless. Yeah, just didn't we think we got like 3 seasons into it, maybe 4, don't know. Stopped watching it. Trailer Park Boys. I'm starting to move ahead only because I know how many more I have. So, Trailer Park Boys again started watching with Jade. She didn't find it funny, so I stopped watching it. I feel like I could probably watch this show and enjoy it, but I just haven't had the chance to do it. So we moved on from Trailer Park Boys. The next one, Severance on Apple TV, with
Yep.
Adam Scott, I think it was.
Mhm.
Jade and I got about 6 or 7 episodes in, and it was not moving forward. The story was not moving. We weren't getting any answers as to what was going on at work versus at home. Like it was just such a slow burn that it lost us. It lost us. Um, I will say though that the John Tortino, is it Tortino? Is that his name?
Totoro?
John Totoro, love
Yeah.
him. Anything he's in, like he's a great actor. Um, Letterkenny, watched with Jade. I would probably pick this up again because I feel like it could be down my road of humor, but for her it wasn't. Um, and yeah, we just moved on. Modern Family got to the second last season, and it was just the same thing with How I Met Your Mother and Big Bang Theory. It was just like it was too much. Like it's getting older, it's repetitive stories, like hanging on the same tropes of a TV show. So we're like, yeah, we're dropping it. Um, 30 Rock, we watched the first season because we had the DVD set and didn't have the DVD set for seasons 2 and beyond, and never bought them. And we just forgot about it. And yeah, that was it. Same thing with Weeds. Had the first season, watched the first season, enjoyed it. Didn't want to drop the money on season 2 DVDs, and this is before streaming services are as prevalent as they are today. We dropped it. Smallville, put that in the category of How I Met Your Mother and Modern Family and the others, where it was just too long. And listen, if I'm going to invest 10 years of my life into a Superman story, I don't want to
Yep.
wait to the very fucking end of the 10 years on the last scene to see a glimpse of him in the
Yeah, you don't even get
Superman
to see him
outfit. Like
full suit either, I don't think, eh? It isn't just
you
like the shirt
don't
goes
like
up?
it, and it's just yeah, and it's a love hate. I'm gonna put a little pin because I want to just say something else about this. It's a love hate with the show because it was the first time that you'd actually seen. It was like Arrowverse before the Arrowverse, where you got to
Mhm.
see the Flash and Green Arrow or
Everybody.
Green
Yep.
Lantern, everyone. But the outfits were fucking terrible, like
Yeah.
terrible. And she's also part of a sex cult now, so that's kind of
There you
spoils
go.
things.
But these
Moving
are
on.
audible these aren't your audible mentions, right? This is just the bottom half of the list?
No, we are still on the list. We're still on the list. We're about halfway through.
Like, I
Um,
think what's shocking is the amount of shows you watched, period, whether you finish them or not. I don't think I even have this
yeah,
many shows, like, on our hard drive.
Suits, loved Suits, got through like 4 seasons, and just yeah, got a bit repetitive. Stranger Things, we watched the first season, really enjoyed it, and I think we're gonna watch the rest. And
You better.
what turned me off of catching up on it was that I think it's in between seasons 4 and 5 right now. Is that right?
Yeah, 5's the last season. I think it
Five's
comes
the
out
last
next year.
season, but it's not coming out till next year, and season 4 was
Yep.
out like early this year. So the time in between, I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna wait for it to be done and not watch it. Um, Brooklyn Nine-Nine got like 7 episodes in, very funny. It just got a bit repetitive and we lost it. The Crown, we really enjoyed it. The Crown being the life story of obviously Queen Elizabeth. And we're on the last season. We just haven't watched it. We intend to watch it, but obviously VPR is the trump right now. So The Flash, stopped watching it, and it's for 2 reasons. Number one, it got away from, and you can probably agree with me or not agree with me, but it got away from what it was in the first season or 2, where it was just really
Yeah.
introducing the characters, and there were some really cool characters and villains and rogues that were a part of the show. And then it just got to be so much more, and it just convoluted everything.
Yep.
The second reason why I think I stopped watching it was in season 6 or 7, Ragdoll had an appearance, and Oliver at the time
Yeah.
freaked the living shit out
You
of
know who
me.
else freaked
And
out?
like,
Michelle freaked out at that. The
yeah,
contortionist.
and had nightmares about it. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I won't watch it with you, and I'll wait. I was like, I'll wait till he's, and he
Yeah.
still to this day, he's like, I can't watch. Like, I can't do it. So,
Yeah.
Legends of Tomorrow, just like, just didn't hold me.
No.
Ozark, too goddamn quiet and too goddamn dark. Like, I couldn't see or hear anything.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't. And we watched the first season, and I couldn't see anything. And I don't know if I'm blind or if it was just a lot of blue, but it was a lot of blue. Homeland, great first season. Amazing way to end the first season if you've seen it. If you haven't, I would recommend watching season 1, but just didn't really care to continue on much past that, because I felt like Claire Danes' character was just so crazy that it kind of took away from the whole series. Jump in if you want to say anything, or if you just want me to fire through these. But
Yeah. Go nuts.
Narcos, just I think I watched it with Jade. She didn't really enjoy it, so I could probably go back and watch it. But we stopped watching that. Ballers, I felt it was trying to be too much like Entourage, but from an athlete's perspective, and because of how hard it was trying, it kind of lost me a little bit.
Yeah, Ariel's rolling. Interject here. So I never watched Entourage, but I watched Ballers. But then it, like you said, I think I watched the first season. About halfway through the second season, I found out this is trying, for sure, trying to be too guy. Like, there's too much guyness in this, like stereotype guy. So that I had to drop off, and I never got back to it. Then I heard it got to into like race issues and stuff later, and
Oh, did it really? Yeah. See,
there's only so much white guilt I have to give to a show.
So to spread it around.
Yeah.
Agents of Shield, again, like I think for this one specifically, it was me holding out hope that it would eventually tie itself into the MCU, and it never did. And I was like, well, I just wasted 5 years of my life, so whatever.
I stopped shortly after Robbie Reyes Ghost Riders joined.
Yeah, was that the same season as the Absorbing Man? I remember there was an episode where Absorbing Man, I was like, oh, that was kind of cool. Absorbing Man's on the show, and then never went anywhere with it.
Yeah.
So House of Cards, next one, watched the first season, really enjoyed it, but then we watched it. We were too late, and we watched it when Kevin Spacey was going through all of his shit, and we're like, well, we're not supporting anything like that, so we dropped it. The OC was one just for me. Watched it when I was living in Calgary. Stopped it for whatever reason.
Just for you say? I want to dive more into this.
You know what? Yeah. So it was when Jade and I lived apart
Hold on.
from one another for a year.
Okay, let me just get comfortable.
That's right. So
Let's dish. Hold
so
on. I wish
Jade,
it was a coffee mug.
that's right. Yeah, you
Okay,
need
so
to
you're
have
good.
like a little yeah, so Jade and I lived apart from one another
Yeah.
for a year. Jade was going to school here. I was living in Calgary. I had my own company. Um and so it was like it was the roughest time that you could say we had in the 20 years that that we've been together. So during that time I was like there were moments of me feeling very like, self like down on
Hmm.
myself and whatnot. So I'd watch these like,
Right.
these
20 somethings.
types of shows. OC, yeah,
Yeah.
and OC was one of them. And I mean,
Okay.
I watched the first season, so that was it. Um, Not really much more to say about that. Will I go back and
Okay.
watch it? Probably not. Probably
Probably
not.
not.
We turned the last corner. We're in the home stretch now.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Whew.
Titans, Titans,
Time.
just too much. Like it was like too much
Fuck
aggressiveness and
Batman.
like fuck that, like this and that, and
Yeah.
like it was like okay, like first of all,
Did you make it
you're
to
the
Jason Todd?
team Titans. No, no.
No. Because if you thought
See,
fuck Batman season one was bad.
I made it
Whew.
end of season 2.
Okay.
What was the season with not Deadshot, but with Deathstroke?
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke, was it season 2 with Deathstroke? Um he was the one with he was like the
Yeah.
assassin. He was
Scarecrow
the
is
older
season.
guy,
Yeah.
and he had like the beard, gray beard.
Yeah. 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 Season
Yeah.
3 was
Um
Scarecrow.
The only reason why I wanna go back and watch it is just to see the portrayal of all of the characters that they introduced, like Scarecrow and,
Hmm.
um, I feel like there's a
No, they
few others
go.
that I'm not thinking that are in the
Yeah.
DC that
They go Red Hood. So they take Jason, make him Red Hood. They introduce Connor
see, that would be
Kent.
cool.
Um, I
Mhm.
I know season 4 is the end. I can't remember who they have in season 4, but a lot of the core characters from season 1 they kind of write out, and then obviously we get Nightwing. So yeah,
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Okay. So, Gotham, just it was on Fox and, I just didn't have a PVR at the time, I don't think. There was a reason why I stopped watching it, but I don't think it was because I got bored. I think it was just like I just wasn't able to watch it.
Right.
Um,
I
Again,
stopped
keeping in
watching it.
mind like streaming services out. Go ahead.
I stopped watching it when it was on originally because I thought, well, this is just
Yeah.
garbage. I have since rewatched it and I quite enjoyed it.
Really? What? Okay. Okay. So is it worth
I
maybe
went back
going
to it.
back and revisiting it?
Once you appreciate it for
Okay.
what it is and not what you
Um,
wanted it to be, you're good.
okay. Ray Donovan got through 5 episodes, I'd say, give or take, and just couldn't get into it. Yeah, so we dropped it. Goldberg's, loved Goldberg's, and we got pretty far into it, but we watched it as a family, and then Jade kind of got disinterested, and then I was like, well, I'll record the shows, and then we'll just watch them together, and then never watch them, and then too many episodes got ahead of me and haven't caught up, but really enjoyed it. Supergirl, just CW casualty in my
Hmm.
point of view. American Gods. I started watching it and I enjoyed the book better, and it's my favorite book of all time, I would say. And the show wasn't holding up to it, so I was like, I'm just not gonna watch it. And it's the same thing. Like I will never watch Dumb and Dumber 2, like the sequel,
Right.
because Dumb and Dumber is my favorite movie of all time. Like I won't subject myself to it because I don't want it to soil the original, which is what my feeling was for American Gods. Californication tried, but I couldn't get into it because David Duchovny, in my mind, was Mulder, and I just couldn't separate the two. Eastbound and Down was a casualty, because I had the first season on, or have the first season on DVD, but couldn't find the other seasons without buying them, and so dropped it. Flight Attendant, watched the first season, but just didn't do anything for us. So much so that we didn't care to pick up the second season. There's 4 more. Sorry, Last Man on Earth. Really loved the concept. I thought it was funny, but it was just very slow and didn't keep my attention as much as I'd hoped it to. Last Man on Earth was with Will Forte, I think.
Will
Was who
Forte,
it
yeah.
was. Yeah. Some funny moments in the episodes that we did watch, but not enough to keep me going. Preacher, I would say this is the same thing for American Gods. It's one of my favorite comic books of all time. I just could not watch the show because it was not doing the story justice, in my opinion. And I knew that going into it because there's
Right.
no way that AMC would ever be able to do Preacher the justice it deserves on that channel. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you're gonna do Preacher the way it's supposed to be, you're gonna be going on like not X-rated, but like on a HBO type of platform where it can really get to the true content of the story and certain elements of it. The last two, Parent Test is a reality show. We really enjoyed it. We just didn't watch the last 2 seasons. We kind of forgot about it. But it was a reality show here in Canada just about different styles of parenting and which one works better. And you had like
Okay.
helicopter parents and like
Yeah.
free spirited parents, and so it was just we were just curious to see like kind of what their everyday looked like. And then the last one I thought of last night was Mandalorian. Watched up until the first season. It was the episode where he went to help the village that was like in the swamps or whatever, in season 1.
I think that's like the second episode.
And that was no. Is it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
No. It's like the one where he
Fairly
goes. No,
confident.
it's not second. Okay, well maybe it's second. So to finish that off, that was 54 shows that we just ran through. I'm not gonna. I have 12 more that I'm not going to say anything about, but I'm just going to read them. These are shows that were 5 episodes or left. So Extras, The Bear, Handmaid's Tale, Jack Ryan, Sopranos, 24, Peaky Blinders, Parks and Rec, Vice Principals, Outlander, Queen's Gambit, and Ghosts. Those are the honorable mentions of 5 or less episodes. Wow, that's a lot more. That's a lot more that you think when you start talking about it. I was like, oh yeah, like
what's
that's
shocking?
a lot of shows,
not
man.
What's more shocking than you didn't finish those is that you had the time to even start all that.
But again, like this is going back. Like these are shows that are going back. When was the OC out? Like in 2002, 2001. So like these are like 20 years of TV shows. So if there's 54, it's like 3 per year. So that's how I'm justifying.
All right, let's regroup.
Not good.
As Halloween approaches, you have to prepare yourself for what might happen. More orange sprinkles. It's a special time of year, and Dunkin' Donuts is dressing up their donuts for the occasion. And here's the werewolf. So come to Dunkin' Donuts and get into the spirit of Halloween.
We'd like some Halloween donuts, please.
Oh, of course.
I remember those commercials.
All it's missing is like Michael Jackson's Thriller, dun, dun, and the dancing.
Yeah,
that's what was missing.
All right.
Oh,
some geek news. So there's some speculation as to what the story for Robert Pattinson's Batman 2 is going to be about. Rumors is we're going to be dealing with Clayface.
Yeah.
And a possible adaptation. I don't know how you can do this already. Death in the Family would be an influence on the story, right? And or The Court of Owls.
You can't do
Here's my question.
both.
Here's my question to you.
So
Are both are way too recent, I think, to start adapting right now.
what? Death in the Family too recent?
Or is that Death of the Family? Well, like in the New 52, like when Joker was like going out trying to take everybody out. Is that not that one that was? Am I
Well,
thinking something else? Not the Robin killing one.
The one you. Okay, that's Death in the Family. Death in the Family.
Yeah. But there's no
Okay,
Bat
so
families either
okay.
way. Either way, there's no Bat family right now.
Yeah. Court of. Go ahead.
I was on my
So
rant.
I was gonna say like Court of Owls. That could work if is it Matt Reeves that's still gonna
Yep.
direct? I would imagine that it is gonna be him. So he could, do his best Christopher Nolan impersonation and make a trilogy out of it, perhaps, or even more. And if that's the case, then the Court of Owls could be a good thread that is pulled along through all of the movies until it's ultimately dealt with in the last one. I think is a good, could be potentially a good angle. Like it's definitely a group of individuals that are controlling Gotham from the underbelly, and Batman, investigates, being the true detective, and then meets them head on at the end. So I think there's something that could be said, and it's not like the thing about Court of Owls too is that it's not so heavily dipped in lore and history that you could get away with
And the
introducing
rogues
them
too,
to.
right?
Yeah, like it's in and of itself, and I think you can get away with that being something you can introduce without people being like, well, where's the Joker and where's the I was about to say the Riddler, but he was already in it. But where are those classic rogues? It's new enough where you can kind of separate the two, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, if you
But
look
a
at how
Death
the
in the
movie
Family,
ended. Sorry, if you knew how
yeah,
the first one ended with the destruction of Gotham, do you think that's how you can tie the owls in? Is like the rebuilding of Gotham through this secret organization?
for sure. For sure. Or even, and I mean, this would be kind of hackish if they did this, or if Matt did this, but maybe they somehow make it so that in a way, the Court of Owls were in part responsible for the destruction of Gotham so that it could be rebuilt in its own vision. But
Oh,
that
kind
would
of like
be almost
them.
like that would almost be like too close to Ra's al Ghul, in
Yeah,
Batman Begins. Like, but that could be something. I mean, there's far smarter and more, better equipped screenwriters than I am, or think that I could ever be, where they can maybe turn that into a pretty good story, where maybe they had some involvement in the first one, and then the second one is like them being discovered or uncovered. It's kind of like Star Wars, right? Like where the first one you didn't know anything about the Sith. Well, you knew about Darth Vader, and then the second one, and then the third one. Like
there's
you
the
could
Emperor, and
slowly kind of
slow build, slow
so
burn.
Clayface though I think would be
Yeah,
pretty
that's an
cool,
interesting
especially
one.
with like like CGI, and it being like a dark movie, not like bright
Do
and whatnot. I think
you?
they could get away with making Clayface.
Yeah, but do you go full like what we're used to in the animation and the comics, where he's like this big clay monster, or you, like make it more realistic, where it's more like he just wears like prosthetics?
Yeah, it could be something as simple as that, right? Where he's um he dresses up like he puts on like different costumes or whatever, and makes himself like look like others,
He's the chameleon.
using shadows and other like
Mhm.
other things that you could get a good look at him because it was at night and all you had was this one light bulb, and so he's the clay face, right? Because he kind of molds into what he needs to be at that given moment in time. um the Death in the Family though, the only way, like if it is from the original, like the Robin one, the only way I can think it would work is that if they took how the first one ended and they fast forwarded like 5 or 6 years, and he had Robin in between then, but he died. And then this one is where like the second movie picks up and it's just flashbacks about his time with Robin. But that's too convoluted. I think that's too convoluted.
You want to off Robin off screen?
Yeah.
In between
you don't
stories?
even get screen time.
Yeah.
Like, you're done.
We hate you so much.
Oh, what is this? The fifth director quit?
No. Apparently, with Blade, Marvel's Studios Blade, rumor going around is that they've ditched the script and they're rewriting it all.
This is, you know what? This is Marvel's version of The Flash.
So there's no way it could be good then, is what you're saying.
No, that is going to take 14 years to make the movie.
Yeah, and they were going to start filming this past, I think, last fall. They were going to start filming, and then they lost a director, and it went on hiatus. Then strike, and here we are.
So here's what I don't understand. In a world where we have, a plethora of shows about zombies and vampires and monsters and like that genre is definitely not untapped. It's been done. Why the fuck is it so hard to write a script for Blade? Like I don't like, what are you like, it's almost like you're trying so hard to differentiate yourself with this genre that you're not even doing anything. Like we're gonna flip the script. We're gonna make this a genre altering story where like no one's gonna can see where this is, but it's gonna be so good that we're not even gonna write it. Like we can't even come up with anything. It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all.
The story is so good we can't even think it.
Yeah. It's so good that we can't even comprehend it.
You wouldn't even believe what we can't comprehend.
Yeah. You won't even believe what we can't come up with.
Yeah, it's so good we can't even think of it.
I mean, yeah, that's right. I don't know.
Like I don't know your love for the Blade trilogy with Wesley Snipes, but there are 2 good movies in there.
Is it the second and third or the first and second?
First and second. We don't talk about Blade Trinity.
Yeah.
Movie so bad even Wesley.
Is that the one with is that the one with Beale and Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, never seen it. Never seen it.
Go.
I saw the first one with Dorff. That was good.
Dorff. Steven Dorff, yeah. Remember him? Nope.
No,
the world doesn't. So Marvel, as we know, is going to have a cinematic universe of their own with Sony. And Sony was going to control everything. And one of the movies they were going to do is Silver Sable, which apparently is no longer getting made. Gotta admit, I'm not disappointed in that.
I mean,
I don't know. What are your thoughts on Silver Sable? Like it was supposed to be like Silver Sable and like I think Black Cat or something.
Yeah,
like, I guess like a team up heist movie.
Yeah, Silver Sable is the watered down street version of Black Widow, we'll say. And one could argue that prior to 2008, Iron Man, Black Widow was also watered down. Black Sable, like there isn't enough meat on that bone to justify making a Silver Sable.
I don't think there's really anything
movie.
that Marvel has.
I mean, she is so rarely used in the comics.
Yeah.
And
I agree. Like even with I think the only time I've ever seen her outside of like the Spider-Man cartoons series of '94 was I think an appearance in like a video game or 2.
Yeah, she's just not used. I mean, she's it's just a random pick your mercenary and throw the color or the shade silver on it, and there you go. Like there's nothing unique about her. And even in the video game, like, was she that good in the first Spider-Man? Yeah, I mean, she served a purpose, but it wasn't like oh my god, Silver Sable. Like, no, like, okay. So
Yeah, that's
I don't
like,
even
oh, that's
remember
another
the last
character from
time
Rogues.
she was in a comic book. Yeah, like, I don't like. I'm legit trying to figure out or think about when she was last in the comic book, and I can't remember. Like, it's been that long. I'll see if I have her in my database as I check my comic book database.
Oh Lord, nerd alert!
Yeah, nerd alert. Yeah, she was last in volume 5 of Spider-Man, which is 3 years ago, and that was only for 4 issues. So anyway,
Okay, I got
Silver
one more.
Sable. Like, no, Sony. This is just the thing about Sony is like, you're just like, you don't need to make a cinematic universe out of the characters that you have just for the sake of doing it. Or here's the thing: are they thinking of making the Sony cinematic universe just so that they can maintain ownership of those characters?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because I feel like there's something in there where if they don't make a movie with the character every 5 years, then they lose the rights to that character and it goes back to Marvel. So they're like, yeah, that's the only way that
Well,
it makes sense.
here's their with this off the plate. Here's their current slate of movies. We got Madam Web, Venom 3, Craven. Olivia Wilde's directing a movie that everyone's assuming is Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew, and Hypno Hustler.
Who's Hypno Hustler?
That's an incredibly obscure Spider-Man villain, according to this write-up. But Donald Glover's starring in the role.
Huh.
So
Um,
deep cut there.
Yeah, that's a deep cut for sure. What's the guy's name?
Hypno Hustler.
Hypno
Spelt
Hustler.
just like it sounds.
I would be excited about a Jessica Drew Spider-Woman movie if it was done right.
It's Sony. Is it
I
gonna
would be
done right?
excited about that, but Olivia Wilde, I don't put a lot of trust. No. Yeah, Craven. What are your thoughts on Craven? We haven't talked about Craven yet. The trailer.
That's my thoughts on Craven.
That's just, yeah. Hey.
Yeah. Okay. We're running long, so I have 2 clips. I'll show one. You want to watch the new spot for Spider-Man 2 game or this new spot that gives a different look at the Marvels? And then we'll go into fan questions.
Different look at the Marvels.
All right. So this is just a short, I think 30-second spot.
We are at war. Captain Marvel, we need you to save the world.
Then let's do this.
You took everything from me.
So we want to fight?
You cannot protect your people.
Watch me.
The Marvels, rated PG-13. Experience it in IMAX. Tickets on sale Tuesday.
Hey, look, there's a plot. Doesn't involve everybody.
Brie Larson is extremely easy on the eyes, but I will say that her characteristics of Captain Marvel are just atrocious. You want to fight? You want to go? Like, that's not Captain. No, like
It's like Captain Marvel was Rocky.
That's it. Yeah,
you won't fight.
You want to go, Adrian? Yeah, like, no, that's exactly what she's just her, like, she's moved away from it, because in the first movie, they really like pressed the fact that she was like from the military, which is what Carol
Mm-hmm.
Danvers is. She's like a military woman that lives to serve and serves to live and that kind of thing. So it just that kind of took me out of it. But I mean, it's Brie Larson, so it's not hard to look at.
Half points. I think I can start calling this caller questions rather than fan questions because
caller questions. Yes.
Number one. Caller question number one. What do you think of studios rebooting movies with all female cast, like Ghostbusters with an all female lead, or Pirates of the Caribbean, which is rumored to be rebooting with Margot Robbie as the lead? Let's piss off women here.
You know what? I'm all for. I'll go first. I'll take the bullet on this one. Don't do it for the sake of genderizing a movie, if that's even a word. Just don't. Make the movie because you want to make the movie and you want to tell a good story. Who gives a shit what gender is there? And who gives a shit if it's all 4 women or all 4 men or like 3 men and 1 woman or 3 women and 1 man? It doesn't care.
3 men and a baby.
Like it should not matter. Exactly. If you want to get, Tom Selleck and the other
Goot.
2, Ted Danson and the last one, yeah. If you want to get them in a movie, but yeah, like don't there are other ways that you can prop up a gender and empower women in so many other more beneficial ways than you can in a movie. I don't need to go. I feel like I'm treading on a thin line with this one, but that's how I feel.
Walk that tightrope. Yeah, like with the female ghosters, we've said it ad nauseum on this show.
It's like
is that if the property is not for a certain fan base, don't do it. Period. It's like we said. Who the hell are you making this for? Girls didn't give a shit about Ghostbusters. They didn't need a Ghostbusters movie. End of story.
Yeah, exactly. Boom.
Caller question number 2. If there was someone who had never seen a superhero movie ever, what 3 would you recommend for a first timer?
You go first.
So if I was to think first timer superhero movie, I would say if you really want, my thing would be if you really want to capture the essence of a character, not so much the genre. The genre, I think you can go if it's a good representation. I had some because I was writing down, I thought of it, but I changed my mind. Captain America: First Avenger, I think would be one. Like it's very like comic book-y, but it also best serves the character that you're introducing. Like I don't know if I said it to you, but I've said it many times before. What sets Steve Rogers in that movie is when he's asked, like, you've been trying like 12, 13 times to get in the army, you keep getting denied. Like, why are you so determined to go kill Nazis? He says, I don't want to kill anybody. I just don't like a bully.
Yeah.
Like right there. Like that's Steve Rogers.
Great.
I probably go with Iron Man. Just a good time for everybody. And if you really want to capture the struggle of a superhero, Spider-Man 2. That movie, I think of all the Spider-Man representation, shows what it's like to sacrifice for the greater good. Like he could have had everything he wanted, but he had to honor the gift that he was given, right? He had to put it all aside to be Spider-Man. And when he realized that he had this power, that by casting the power aside, put people at risk. So he had to give it up and be the hero that he was chosen to be.
Yeah.
Which we didn't get any sacrifice with Tom Holland until Far From Home. Your turn. You're on the clock.
Yeah. I wish I had good answers like you did and the reasons why. Those are all fantastic choices. I would say I don't know if I could substantiate my choices as well as you, but I will say that one of them would be The Dark Knight. It's suspenseful, it's action packed, it has you on the edge of your seat. There is obviously that comic book element to it. The second one, I would say probably the first Avengers, just because it's so.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen this question before, so like this is just me literally coming up with the movie 30 seconds before or 30 seconds after the question's been asked. But it was an achievement. It was a cinematic achievement where you saw like different characters and from different properties come together, and it was a very colorful movie. It was a very fun movie. There was lots of action. There were jokes. There were definitely things that happened in that movie that had repercussions. And then I think the last one, I'm kind of going to go off the page a little bit, and I'll say the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I just remember
Oh yeah.
when that movie came out, just the hype around it, like all of the merchandise, and just it was a colorful movie yet a dark movie in the same sense. They're living in a sewer, but you could definitely tell like the red, the green, the blue, or the red, the orange, the blue, the purple. They all had their own different sounds, and let's be honest, Feldman was in it as well, so that's never a bad thing. Casey Jones was in it. Yeah, it was good. Like, it was just I remember I had one of those, remember those sticker books, like where you'd buy like the little sticker packs and then you'd stick them in. I had that for the first Ninja Turtles movie, and it was amazing. And I almost filled it up. I never completed it, but I almost did. So I'm just gonna go off the book or off the page a little bit and say that would be my third one.
I'm gonna make three little notes. That one, Dark Knight and Winter Soldier were two of my original three, because just amazing movies. Another one is because like you're coming off Batman 89, right, when Turtles came out in 90. So like you had this, we're going dark for adaptations, and that movie, like compared to Burton's Batman, was like super metal, right? It was just like we had weapons, we had violence, there was like it was just the dark and grungy, it was like if like they're just picking up like with like before, I guess, Nirvana was taking off. And third, Michelangelo, Robbie Wrist, Cousin Oliver on the Brady Bunch.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's his
interesting
claim to fame. Killed one show and just carried the Turtles. And the final one.
Great
this
question.
one's a book. So here's your book here. Fan question. Oh, I didn't even rename this one to call the question number 3. What do you think of the fact? Oh, Taylor Swift concert movie has already made in pre-sales over $100 million, which would have taken very little to make, considering that it's just a recording of her concert. And real movies are struggling to make money when they put so much time and effort and money into making them. Are we going to see more concert movies in theaters and less real movies in the future?
No, I think we won't. I think it'll just be a temporary thing. If anything, we'll see.
Because of that, we're getting Beyonce now too.
Yeah, but I think we will see a spike in these types of releases in theaters, just due to the fact of the writer's strike and like that time that was taken away from producing and writing and making movies.
Yep.
But I don't think it will. I don't think it will overcome. The only other reason why I think we would see a spike in this happening is if the prices of concerts continue to be outrageous as they are for those marquee attractions like Taylor Swift and Beyonce. Like, if they continue to cost the average person $1,000 or $1,500 to go see a show for 3 hours, then they might decide, hey, I'll spend the $25 or the $50 going to a movie theater and having it on IMAX, and then the artist getting a piece of that. That would be it. But I still think like when it comes to like musicals, and last week you had said that you loved musicals, and I wouldn't consider this like a musical. This is just like a documentary of a musician. Oh, every chance, every chance.
So you like musicals, huh?
But yeah. So I think I don't think it will ever like take off though, you know? I don't think it'll ever take off, but that's my answer.
Yeah, like we had This Is It after Michael Jackson passed, and that was kind of in a way to like recoup the money that was invested in the concert that didn't happen, right? And then I think you had like the Jonas Brothers and Justin Bieber kind of capture like the phenomenon that was going on at the time. This, yeah, I think this is a different thing that I could see, like you said, playing because there's no other content. B, it's like cashing in on something that very few people can get to. Like, oh, you couldn't spend $2,000 on this ticket, or here's $15 to go watch essentially what you would have seen in the arena now in a theater with, you know, extra behind the scenes stuff that you wouldn't see if you even paid that kind of money. So yeah, I think you'll probably get an influx for a bit, but I don't, and then it has to be the peak, the big timers, like, you know, the Beyonce's. I think even Ed Sheeran has owned a big tour too, so you might even get one of his too. But yeah, it's not gonna overtake, because really what we've seen after post pandemic is you need the big movies to fill the theaters. We're not getting Top Gun every year.
For sure. And I mean, even like even Ed Sheeran like isn't enough. Like I think of artists. If I were to pick 5 artists in the world that could pull off what Taylor's doing, it'd be Taylor, Beyonce, probably Adele, probably Coldplay, and then I would struggle for a 5th, like maybe like BTS or something like that. You know, like just who are big, but there aren't enough artists in the world that are big enough to have like a 1,000 theater release, you know, musical. So
okay, now before we wrap this up, this is going to be a first. We have some comments in the chat.
Okay.
So this one came in to you, 538. Knock, don't ring. Not entirely sure. You have a better idea what that would be.
I know exactly what that is.
And we also got this one here.
Yeah,
Old Bachelor
I know exactly
to the list.
That is, and this will be for the after hours show. That's oh, look at that. About to add Golden Bachelor to that list. Okay, there we go. Very nice. I know who that is. Would you look at that? Well,
we're revolving. See, this
so now
is less
we are
a
at
podcast,
55,
more of a video
even
show.
number first.
Yeah. 55.
That's right. That's it. You know, that's it.
All
well,
right,
that
man.
was fun.
Wasn't it,
so
though?
that's my turn, right? The outro.
Yeah, this is
so
you.
That's all for this week's episode of Open Collar. Thanks for joining us for another round of discussions and analysis and my very, very, very long takes on shows that I never finished, as well as all things movies, TVs, and comic books. If you did enjoy today's episode, be sure to hit that subscribe button and make sure to leave a review. As every podcast would ask, give us a follow on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. We are you can find us as at Open Collar Pod. We appreciate your support. Obviously, those comments that you sent in, those questions that you sent in. If you have ideas or topics that you'd like us to discuss for future episode, please be sure to share them. We can't wait to bring you more content next week. Until then, this is Steve. That's Cory. Cory, you have your sign off, right? Go ahead. What is it?
And now, here's your feel good Feldman.
Wait, there's Corey Haim. Corey Haim, come here for a second. He's in the movie with me. This is Corey Haim. He was in Lost Boys, and he was in the movie License to Drive, which is coming out in August. And we're doing that movie together, too. Yep. Anyway, so me and Jason changed bodies, and this is my best friend. His name is Dinger in the movie. And I've got long black hair in the movie. They're going to put extensions on, so it's like 2 inches longer. Thank you. This is my hairstylist. It's beautiful.